So welcome back to Financial Accounting and Analysis. And lest you get tired of just me, I brought along my Tribble to help me here. Thank you, Tribble. So purpose of this is to, little mini lecture is to get you set up for a positive experience on doing the homework for Chapter 8. So remember that slide 6 and slide 16 are kind of pivotal in terms of walking you through the various ways that we have to account for our investment in the securities of other companies. So first thing we got to do is we've got discussion question 8.4 on page 328. This one has to do with the accumulated other comprehensive income, AOCI. It sounds like that Congresswoman, AOC. So this is AOCI. So this is even more important than AOC. This is accumulated other comprehensive income. And we want you, a couple of questions here. Make sure, again, not to sound like a broken record here, if you know what records are, you must, please answer these questions in the order they are posed. So what is accumulated other comprehensive income? So define it, describe it. What's included in it? And is it positive or is it negative? Okay, so what is it? What is accumulated other comprehensive income? What is included in it? Is it positive or negative? And I would probably put a fourth question here. What does it actually show up on the financial statements? Probably want to integrate that into your first question there when you describe what it is. Right. So that's the discussion question. Good, thoughtful answer to those questions. Look forward to your dialogue with your colleagues. Remember, with those dialogue and the colleagues, that's the only way you can get 10 points. And also that's, we often learn from one another as well. So most of you at this point have really gotten the drill there, and I'm proud of you. Keep up the good work, keep interacting with your colleagues, keep learning from one another. Now exercise 819 on page 330. This has to do with available for sale securities. So these securities that we own, we may sell them, we may not. We don't have them actively. These are not trading securities. Again, look at that little slide, whether it's either 6 or 16, and it'll kind of guide you in terms of what you're supposed to do. So based on the information given, what is the net unrealized gain or loss each year? You must show your calculations. That sounds like something I said a lot of the midterm. You've got to show your calculations. You got to show your calculations. You got to show your calculations. So what is the unrealized gain or loss each year? Definitely show your calculations. And then third question here, is the net realized unrealized gain or loss, is that taxable? Is that taxable? So remember, available for sale securities. Remember how those are going to have to be classified on the financial statements, but ask yourself, are they, is that something that the federal government is going to tax? Right? So make sure you answer those three questions. What is the unrealized gain or loss each year? Show your calculations, and is this gain or loss taxable? And remember, as you do this, you're following the rules for available for sale securities. So then, if we've talked about available for sale securities, we ought to talk about trading securities as well. So remember, these are securities that are actively held for trade, which means we plan to sell them. So calculate the gain or loss under each of the scenarios. So you've got a couple of different scenarios there. Calculate the gain or loss under each. Where would this gain or loss appear on the financial statements? So remember, you're dealing with trading securities, so where they show up here on the financial statements might be different than they might show up, for instance, for available for market securities or equity securities. And so make sure you get those two questions. Get the gain or loss under each scenario, and where would this gain or loss appear in the financial statements? 822, long-term equity investments. So this is a long-term investment in the shares of another company. And you're going to have to do a little bit of forensics here. So you know these are accounted for under the equity method of accounting. So you've got to figure out, based on the information here, and question 22, and I think the next one are kind of similar here, you're going to have to figure out, based on the changes in the account balances and so forth, what was the dividend that was actually paid in 2020 and 2019. So you got to determine that dividend. Must show your calculations, must show your calculations, must show your calculations. So figure out what the dividend that was paid in 2020 and 2019. And then the third question here, How would the undistributed earnings, should be plural, be included on the statement of cash flows and at what amount each year? So if you've got your portion of the income from the subsidiaries, and you're picking it up as income, but you don't get any cash from that. So how is that going to be disclosed on the statement of cash flows and at what amount each year? So I told you that statement of cash flows is important. So what they're getting at here is that you're picking up your share of the company's income, but the only amount that you're actually receiving is the dividend. What about the portion you're picking up in income that you don't actually receive? So how would that be included on the statement of cash flows and at what amount for each of those 2 years? And this last one you'll have fun with. This is under the equity method of accounting. So figure out how much they paid for this investment back in 2016. So they told you, they gave you information each year for what the revenues were and what the dividends were. And you've got to actually consider all that and then figure out if this is what it's valued for today, and this was the income that was received, and this was the dividends received. Try to figure out how much that you actually paid for that investment back in 2016. And when you do that, remember that you purchased 25% of the shares. So you're not picking up all of the income, you're not picking up all the dividends, but you're picking up 25% of it. Okay, must show your calculations. I'm seeing a trend here, must show your calculations. Okay, so that concludes our review of briefing on the homework. I hope you found that useful. And again, feedback that you got from me on the midterm, in terms of showing your calculations, making sure you got your years straightened out, all of that would apply here as well. Okay, so good luck. I'll see you in me and my Tribble. I don't know if it's this one or the other Tribble. We'll see you again after I've graded all your homework, and I'll put together a little lessons learned video, which will help you learn from this and apply what you've learned on the final, and apply what you've learned on your SMAC, and apply what you've learned in your future career as well. So until next time, adios, au revoir, hasta luego. See you later, folks.